We'll put that as item number 2.5.
see?
Let's circle it.
Is that right? I got a big
Why
hand.
did you swear? It was not.
Hey.
No, nothing spectacular. Nothing spectacular.
Ever 10,000 miles? Cindy ain't here. Tracy, got your message, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, Chief.
How are you, Sam?
Will be. It will be.
We're not televised, so we can go ahead and start early, right? Okay, this is the November the 14th work session of the Elizabethtown City Council. Mr. Thomas will lead our invocation.
Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this season. We're thankful for this glorious day. We're thankful, Heavenly Father, for this process that we have just gone through. Be with those that were elected, be with our leaders. Wrap your arms around them, give them wisdom, give them guidance. Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for our military, both active and retired, those that have given of their time, their service, and their lives to make our world the place that it is. Heavenly Father, we're thankful for our employees. We're thankful for all the people that contribute to making this city a great place to live. Heavenly Father, be with us during this meeting, that the decisions will be pleasing to thine eyes. These things we ask today and every day in thy holy name. Amen.
Send the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Games, you have a presentation?
Yes, I do. Here to talk to you today a little bit about some things that we're working on in the park, but I thought I'd kind of give you a little update on what's happening, things that are going on. I was doing some looking through some files and trying to make actually I gave a little presentation to the American Shortline Railroad Association earlier in the month. I was going through a few things and I thought, well, some of that's fairly interesting. I'll share that with you today. And obviously, you all are a big part of everything that goes on in the recruitment and the retention of industry. And we're very proud. I want to say something real quick here that I was at a conference last week, and the Gray Construction Company gives an award away every year. I can't even remember now who the recipient of the award was, but they gave a little explanation about James N. Gray, who founded Gray Construction Company from Glasgow originally. And they had some pictures up on a screen explaining and talking about him. And there were 4 people. They took some sort of a trip to Russia or East Germany back in the 50s and 60s. And the guy standing next to Mr. Gray was Mayor Leonard Bean. And she said, they made, I told her before that she gave the presentation, I said, man, that guy looks familiar to me. And so she's going to send that all to me. Some sort of I don't really know what it was, but Mayor Bean, and they said, and the guy next to him is Mayor Leonard Bean from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to find out. So, but anyway, it's a pleasure to be here today. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you. You know, activity is still strong. We've had a lot of calls, not only from manufacturers, but we've been getting some calls on some retail stuff. And so there's a lot of positives going on right now in this community. And a lot of it's getting a lot of press and publicity of what's coming from downtown, which is fantastic. It's good for my business. The more activity we have, the better things are. I went back and we do an employee survey every 6 months, and we track those numbers. And I went back to June of 2010, and between June of 10 and June of 16, we've added Flex Films, Hendrickson, Quest, Structures USA, Atlas Development, Uratrol, CAD Metals, McCandless and Company, Vinminder, and Lentis LLC, and probably a few more. That was just real quickly running through. Expansions during that same period, Metalsys had 3 expansions since 2010. Akibono, Scitech, Sudol, Acumetric, Altex had 2 expansions, Amaray, Fishbach, Summit Polymers, Hendrickson, and there are 3 in the hopper right now that have not been announced that are looking to expand. So it's kind of wild. Employee count, June of 2010, we had 5,460 employees that we tracked in the industrial park. 5,460, and in June of this year it was 9,233. That's about what, 3,600, and they're actually probably still about probably close to 100 or 125 that are still available right now. So there's some good stuff going on. Here's what I'm here to talk to you today about. We are beginning to come to the point in our life where we need to probably think about more land. We've got some land still at some good lots that are available in the park. But the reason for the talk today is to talk a little bit about this Pritchard Parkway that we started, has that been 2 or 3 years ago? I guess we sold this lot to East Kentucky Power to build a substation. And we took the proceeds from that lot, and this is as far as we could get with that road. And that section of the road is gravelled and cut, and then we've got a portion of the road down here that we've got to finish, which involves building a drainage structure and then turning lanes on US 62. So it's important that we get that road finished. To raise that up just a little bit this way. It's important that we get this opened out here to 62 so that we can access this property that we still have to develop here that's in the 150 acre range. And plus we have another lot right here. So what we are embarking upon to not only open this up, but the other major point, now back down again. You know, there you go. When this road was built, actually when I started, they were finishing it. This had not been completed yet. This had not been completed. This is Altec. They were 200 employees. They're now 800 employees. And Flex Films and Hendrickson were not there. So we have, over time, increased the traffic on North Black Branch Road a lot, to say the least. What we see with the use of Altec Drive even being brought into play when shift change takes place is that there are long waits here at Ring Road. Sometimes that traffic will back all the way up to Service First, and that doesn't take into account the traffic that's coming out of Akibono in 30-minute intervals and filling this whole intersection. So good problem to have. We got traffic problems, but it's due to people working. What we want to do is finish this road. We've signed the contract to, and that's what's in your packet. The first piece should say Pritchard Parkway entrance. And I'm just kind of giving you some numbers. This is what we are going to be spending to complete the road. That the document that says Pritchard Parkway entrance involves this last piece of road, the drainage structure, and then more additional rock that's necessary to finish that road, less the paving. That's $200,000. And there's a drawing in there that shows you what that is. Then the second one in there is a, where's it at? Where's mine at? It's the turn lanes. Here they are. So what that involves is, if you look at that drawing, that's a right in. Come bring it up a little bit more down this way so I can see that intersection down there again. There you go. So what that involves, the turning lanes involves to improve the shoulder for a right turn in. It also is coming from west, coming east. It will build a left-in turning lane, and coming out, it will build a merge lane going to the east. And that's required by the highway department. So that will cost us about $55,000. We think it's necessary. Obviously, it's necessary to access the property, but it's also to alleviate some of the traffic congestion that we have. And we hope over time that this would become more of a truck pathway also to service these plants. Hendrickson has a new entrance here, and actually Altech has built a new entrance, and then down to Flex Films, and then up here to Metalsa. So as they learn that, they'll take the easiest route. And when they come off the West Kentucky Parkway off of 65 and come in, that's a pretty easy move for them. So all I would like for you to consider is sometime, we're going to start on this project over the winter. Next spring, if you could help us out with some asphalt, it would be a good thing. I think that number we have estimated at about 190,000 to put the base on it and then put the surface on it. And I'm just here today to tell you why we need to do it. And if there's a way to help, fine, we'd like to get the road finished. Well, we're going to start on the construction work. We've got to get the encroachment permit from the state. Obviously the box culvert's got to be ordered. So there's a lot of work, and depending on what our winter's like, we should be able to get that portion done. And then the rest of it will be cutting the ditches in alongside of the road, getting that all shaped up. So we're talking sometime early spring next year before we'd be ready to pay.
Some part of it.
Yeah, could be. And you know, if we had to wait, we have to wait. We've waited 3 years on this. We spent everything we could spend then. Now we've had some land sales and some things that we think this is a good investment for us, because it not only helps the traffic flow, but it also makes that area down there a little better accessibility. So questions about anything, not this or anything else that you can think of? It's amazing. We're just so blessed with these expansions. I mean, yeah, since I started in
they've got 800 now. Are they finished with the third expansion, or will they even, what will they be able to do?
I don't know. I mean, it changes day to day. You know, when I started, and again, they were just finishing North Black Branch Road in 2001, and they were building. watched them build UPS. But you know, when you add Flex and add all the expansions that have gone on at Altech, and then Metalsa has since Metalsa bought Dana out in 2010, they've just continued to grow every year. And there's actually still some things that they could be doing. And I'm talking to 2 other plants that are they're getting new business, and we're located in the perfect spot. So we just have to capitalize on that.
Rick, back many years ago, you're not old enough to remember probably, but you're getting there.
Got arthritis.
Do you think that those people that develop, you know, and I can remember when the industrial park was started, it's inconceivable almost for them to have envisioned what it would look like now.
Well, and you know, you're probably right, you know, because when that Patterson Park was actually put together, and the catalyst for the spurt of growth was obviously Toyota. Everybody uses Toyota, but that's what started the auto sector. And then with all these expansions that we've been seeing lately, it's actually Ford, FCA, Chrysler. Um, you know, AGC makes glass for everybody. They make Tesla. All the glass for the Tesla that's assembled in California is made in E-Town, Kentucky. Every F-150 except for about 100,000 of them starts here in E-Town, as does the Expedition and Navigator. Brakes, the brakes on your car are probably built here in E-Town. So, it's good stuff. And that's just from the auto side of things. Now, that doesn't count all the plastics and, Sudol Acumetric, what they've done up there, that 90,000 square foot building. And I don't think they're done either. So, and I had a discussion today with a lady from Hopkinsville about workforce. We had this workforce meeting last month, and I came away from it feeling a lot better than I did before. The quality is lacking a little bit, but they're getting quantity when you talk about applications. And as I told them, we've got all the pieces of the puzzle here. If you hire a group of people who need some remedial training, it's easily done. That's what the college does every day. And that's one of the things. I was served on the committee that did some reviewing of the college presidents. We need someone that stays tuned in to that workforce training. And I think this guy will do that. So it's exciting. We're in for some exciting things, I think, to continue to happen with the development of downtown and what we're seeing with new restaurants and hotel activity. You all should be proud of what's taking place. Done a great job.
We've just really been blessed.
We have. That's right.
Rick, thank you so very, very much.
Anytime,
We
anytime you all
appreciate
have
what
a
you do.
question or want anything, just give me a call. See you all.
Thanks. Our next item, Mr. Bryant would like to introduce.
While Robert makes his way up, if you would, Robert. The council has indicated that you're concerned about the future maintenance of detention basins, particularly those that were created for subdivisions. And I think we would agree that that is a concern. We've been in a very high development mode as far as those basins. And you would expect that they would not require a lot of maintenance if they're built properly. They wouldn't require a lot of maintenance initially and for a number of years, but they do require to be mowed and weed eated and checked to make sure that there aren't problems around them. So it is a need that the city be involved with at least inspections of those, as you all asked about. But if we take that to another level, the maintenance of those basins, I think there's two things that you all as the council need to decide, and that is, one, are you going to do that as specifically for those types of subdivision basins and not, for instance, commercial basins that would be existing on single lots that are serving some type of commercial development, including multifamily type basins, so that there would be a difference between the types of basins that you would say that the city would take over maintenance of. And the second thing is then going into the future, should you require some type of payment by developers into an escrow that would assist the city with the maintenance? And really you're talking about just the cost of mowing and maintaining those things on an annual basis. The other part of the maintenance, as far as the long term, I think could be built into the city's budget for doing that. But that annual maintenance of mowing is going to require a significant investment in some personnel and equipment to keep that going. So that's the question, whether or not first of all, you're going to accept them and just accept those subdivision type basins, which basically have been deeded over to private individuals that live next door to the basin, and whether or not you're going to try to create any kind of money stream to go into the annual maintenance of those. So if you tell us that you want to do that, then, or you want to at least look into going into that direction, then Robert, his department can go to work developing some standards for that and some proposed regulations, let's say, and maybe sit down and talk with, some developers about how they see the needs there and how the city should, respond to their side of the development cost. That's all I wanted to mention.
That's what you call,
Comments you want to add?
that's what you call a wonderful introduction there. If I'd walked a little slower, I think you would have gotten it all done there.
Are you ready for comments, or did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to, as a refresher, in the subdivision category, we counted about 112 basins that fit this possible maintenance goal that we've got, the possible maintenance of 112 of them. Currently, as you all know, we maintain our regional basins, like the basin, the Shaw Creek Trib at Severance Valley, those kind of basins, and other ones around town that we've constructed as part of our major revamp of our stormwater system. So those basins are already being maintained, and I hope my crew's doing a great job. But it's it's something to consider. It's a big step, and we need to take a good close look at it, I guess. We do have a survey out, as I promised, with the other area cities and county or two. I think I got in my dragnet, but we fired off a small survey. It's not a taxing survey to do. We're just trying to get an understanding, and we've had one or two respondents so far, but it's still early. So hopefully people will respond to us, and I'll have to get a reminder out to that. So far, it's everybody's kind of that's responded is in the same boat we are. They've got a lot of privately owned and really kind of maybe, I don't want to say neglected, but something that they aren't actively maintaining. They do have a maintenance crew that tries to address things. Sounds like a very similar situation that we're in. So I don't think we're far from the norm, but I'll be interested in getting, when we get 10 or 12 of those surveys back, and can do some comparison.
Robert does 112. That's only the ones in private development. That does not include the commercial and.
Yeah, it does not. It does not include the commercial ones. Yeah, those are residential subdivision level basins, similar to what we might see at Covington Ridge or, just practically every subdivision has a basin or two involved. So it's typical.
Question about, Charlie, what you indicated, one of the decisions that we have to make is do we establish some kind of a perpetual maintenance fund or something like that? Number one, I don't think we have any choice but to do that. I mean, with that many, that's my feeling. I don't think we have any choice. But if we did that, we have that income stream coming in. Are you talking about the city doing the maintenance using that money, or private contracting that out, or?
It could be done either way.
Okay.
Good contract. So you could add.
Because I was going to, I mean, if the city takes over the maintenance, that's a huge responsibility, even with that fund. So, like I say, I don't think we have any choice but to do that, but I just wondered if we would use that maybe for private contractors or.
It's an option, Councilman, and not a bad one.
We look at the mowing, I guess we have a schedule with the state for roadways and so on. Season, so.
Yeah.
Problem with those those subdivision basins is they're in a residential area and sitting next to homes and across the street from homes, so they're going to be expected to be mowed on a more regular basis than
And the
twice a
regional
year.
basins.
Exactly.
That's right.
Just like the cemeteries. Yes, exactly.
But like this one that you just rebuilt,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna have to maintain that one because of the severity of the slope and the way we increase the capacity, and it's deeper and
Right.
it's deeper and steeper. So,
Right.
From what I understand from Steve and the crew out there, that's gonna be one where we're gonna need to kind of take responsibility of as far as the maintenance. And to be quite honest with you, I think the homeowners want us to take responsibility for that. I think that the residents, when they take these basins, I don't believe they realize what they're accepting responsibility for. Because it could be more than just mowing. It could be removing the silt after X number of years go by and the silt builds up, and they're not prepared for that. And they don't know that they're signing on to that.
Exactly.
The other thing is, from what I understand and through some of the discussions, they should not be paying property taxes on these pieces of property because it's not a usable lot. But I think unless they go through the procedural step of notifying, the property, valuation office, then they could possibly be paying some property taxes on it. So I hope they're not because it's not a usable lot. But I guarantee you they have some liability there with insurance premiums and things like that. So to me, I think we need to start looking at these basins and probably prioritize them and get the ones that are non-performing and get those on board first. And along with the ones that are not performing, maybe the ones that are the most difficult to take care of. You know, maybe we, some way or another, get them to the top of the
With
list.
some of the ones that have the severe drainage problems.
Because with 112 of them, it's gonna take 30 years to do it anyway. I mean,
Well-
it takes a long time. You know, think about it, with all the deed transfers and easements and all the legal stuff that you have to work through. I mean, it takes a long time to get them done.
You
But even-
evaluated
even-
those, Robert, yet, as far as the 112 about, we've got 30 of them that really
Right. No,
are.
we're
need
not-
to be
Like
fixed tomorrow.
Covington Ridge.
we're not there yet as far as our assessment. We'll start moving through those, Councilman, soon, but we're not there yet. We don't know. We don't have a good assessment. Because part of the issue is you got to look back at the original design and see how much of that original design still is left, you know, through the wear and tear and the years of use there. So, yeah, it's going to be a process to even move through that. So,
Even prioritizing and what you said here, and I agree with that many, but the homeowners still are going to expect, and again, that goes back to that fund, they're gonna expect regular mowing, particularly during the mowing season on those. So we can't just say we're not gonna take care of.
But we've got a lot of those basins, my guess is right now that homeowners are
They
maintaining.
do.
I mean, doing a good
They
job.
do a good job.
So obviously those are gonna be lower
Priority.
down the, priority list. But, you think about it, if you did one a quarter, I mean, you're staying pretty busy just acquiring and taking care of the paperwork and getting responsibility for these basins.
Right.
So, I mean, it's gonna take a while, so we've gotta have some kind of priority list and which ones to take first.
And as it stands right now, I'm assuming that we, for lack of, be more honest, we don't have a maintenance plan outlined as to when we go around and do this.
it's,
And I don't think we ever envisioned, number one, that we would ever have that many.
Right.
But, we're behind the eight ball if we don't have a maintenance
At
plan.
some point in time, we asked them to put them in.
Yeah, that's
You
right,
know,
that's
you know,
right.
at some
Yeah,
point, we kind of do that.
Let me ask you this, as far
Yes,
as going forward, if we were to ask for some type of an endowment or an escrowed amount of money
yes, sir.
to take care of the basins, is there any way to do it? You measure a basin's capacity by what, the cubic feet?
Cubic
Is
feet's a
is
good-
there a way for you to come up with a formula that says this is how much cost it is per cubic foot of space?
It would be a reasonable way to tie it down. Of course, some of those things at some point in time, they bust into a different category, as far as, you might, but yes, I think your history, your history of costing, you could plow that into that estimate and try to get a number that's a realistic number. Hopefully, and in the end, when we get through a cycle of this, we might have a historical understanding of that. But that's the way you would try to do it. First, you'd pick a number and see if that's, appropriate or high or low, and then adjust the number accordingly.
I mean, somebody that had a small basin wouldn't want to pay the same amount of somebody that had a large basin. So that would
Yeah.
kind of keep some type
Yeah.
of fairness
Yeah.
involved in that.
I think the simplest way might be to do it just based on acreage, the size of
Acreage,
of
size of the
the
lot.
area that you're gonna take care of. And again, that's my, assessment that the annual maintenance of mowing and just taking care of routine stuff like that is going to be the majority part of the cost until there is some significant, repair work that has to be done. And I'm just saying that it seems to me that we build into the annual budget for the department to do those sorts of things, because there's always gonna be a maintenance crew that's involved in stormwater. So you have a maintenance plan, that inspection. I just don't expect there to be a tremendous amount of that type of heavy work that has to be done on each basin annually. over time, each one will have to have some attention, but it's the primary expense is that mowing, and it seems to me that you can come up with an estimated cost of mowing, whatever number of times that you say it has to be done, whether it's once a month or once every 2 months or whatever.
See, I think that's an example, like I said earlier, where we can do that like we do the cemetery, you know, with private contract that out where you know that it's gonna be done, you put a contract out. And I guess, Charlie, I would say you gave us two questions at the beginning of the meeting. Number one, I think we're all in agreement that we said that we do need to establish some kind of a maintenance thing. I think we're in agreement. And secondly, you said, you know, require payment. I think that we're gonna have to do that. But I would like to see the developers, when we do that plan, when we make that plan, because we're criticized sometimes by the developers, but I would like to see them involved with us. We are, Mayor, sometimes.
Unjustly.
I know.
Unjustly.
I know. Well, I would say that, but I would like to involve them, their input, because they're gonna have to be in agreement with it. They're gonna have to be in agreement.
So we'd be remiss if we didn't do that,
That's-
Councilman. I mean, I think that's the only way to go.
So we're all in agreement, we'd like to take them back.
I think we are, yeah.
It's part of our infrastructure. We're just going forward, we'll plan that in the budget on how we're gonna maintain them, take care of
I agree.
them, just like we do roads,
Cemetery.
cemeteries,
Exactly.
other things like that.
Now, if there are basins, that we're not currently having problems with, there's no problems, and the homeowner wants to keep and maintain that basin,
I think that's fine, but I think we have to inspect them to make sure that they are.
Yes.
we're not
And-
just gonna go in and seize them.
That's right, that's
That's-
right.
that's
Because
right.
some of them, I'm sure that it's working fine.
Right, they are.
And, but I think what we have to do is probably going forward, we have to make sure the basin is built correctly the first time.
Right.
And then decide on what the escrow amount of money should be. And then when it's relinquished to us, just like a neighborhood street is given to us, as part of our infrastructure, and then we just have a routine maintenance, I guess.
Right.
I guess it's gonna be important to understand, it's not gonna be one size fits all, you know?
Sure. that's
Some
right.
basins are gonna be separatable and we can take ownership of the basin proper. Others are gonna be tied to that lot because the lot's gonna be a substandard lot if the basin's removed. So there's gonna be decisions along the way that, and I guess there'll be 3 or 4 different ways to get to that end, but as
Well,
long as,
If you guys got any problem for us to go ahead and start moving on the basin we just rebuilt, because I know those homeowners are wanting us to move forward on that. And that one's gonna be one we have to maintain anyway, because of, like I said, because of the severity, so.
we've asked them to petition us, to ask us if we would indeed take that basin. So we should,
Just got the letter,
we-
because I just got a copy. of it.
terrific. Well, that's as quick as you can get
It's in
there.
your inbox, so.
Great. That's,
And I would hope
that's
that,
good.
that we would have this information available when we do budget. So that, you know, we know how we're gonna do the fund and whether we're gonna private contract and this kind of thing
Good idea.
for next season.
Sounds good.
deal.
We'll move to that end then. We sure will.
Are we still working out there on that Foxfire?
Think we're done. The basin itself,
Okay.
yeah, the basin itself's complete. We got it.
Basins done, and now we're
Yep.
working on some culverts.
The rest of the work still is going to unfold. Yeah, we're going to work on some ditches here in the short run. We're going to look at, you know, the capacities of the pipe. We know there's some pipe capacity issues out there as the Martinez slideshow
Yeah.
showed us. So we're going to try to address each of those things in a fashion. What we'd like to do is take a snapshot of each one of the affected owners out there, look at the improvements that are going to fall upon that lot, and then talk with them about those improvements. They might not be all publicly maintained. They may be just a combination of us, our guidance, or technical expertise, and we'll tell them what they need to do, or it may be something that we need to do, but I'll rely on this council to give me policy direction there.
Now, is that on, remember there were 2 issues out there. One was water flow number 1, the other was water flow number 2.
Right.
So it sounds like we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together for water flow number 1.
Right.
But we still gotta tackle
2 is a little challenging, but essentially it really can't be combined with 1 and have that existing basin still function. So it really needs to come through
2.
those lots. Yes. In some fashion, it needs to come through those lots that are there alongside Birch to allow that water to get down into our collection system down below.
Do you see those ditches being shallow grass ditches?
I think so, Councilman. In most cases, I believe so. We can divide the flow and, yeah, I think a shallow V-type ditch, it may be a little more aggressive than what you see in a normal house-to-house ditch, but, you know, it may be a little wider and, you know, but I think it will be aesthetic. It'll still be mowable and you know, something that can be a part of your yard, not a major infrastructure piece, you know.
You don't see that being rock.
No, not in that case, in the specific case we're talking about, no. I see that as being grass.
Robert, let's just make sure, and somebody pointed that out a couple of weeks ago, that, you know, we keep them informed as we
Yes, sir.
bring our trucks and our equipment out there.
We've done our best to do that. We got their email addresses and, you know, we had a flyer and gleaned some email addresses. So we're doing our best to keep them informed and hopefully, they'll look back at this and think we've been very responsive. I hope that's the case. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of any of the department heads? Okay, good night. Thank you.
Brian Horvath is okay. Michael, and apparently Brian's gonna meet some contractors.
Marty,
Is that- that's
Marty.
okay? All right.
Marty, I love you. I love you tonight. I do. Thank you, Marty.
Called Brian today, I'm sorry. I left the order, came straight here. I said I confirmed with Charlie. That's what we did. I'm calling. They're ready? Okay, all right, I'll call them, okay. Is that your home? Okay, yeah. Yeah, take it.
Maybe this was it.
I gave you mine. Okay, my copy. Oh, those aren't in there, but they're, yeah, because it's really amazing. The fact that there's Spanish water and all that, you know, and, I deal with that child support, you know, we have some.
Yeah, really.
And, you know,
Hours, you gotta get all that in.
there's no justification.